Baruch Yahuwah Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, Yahuwah, our Elohim, King of the universe. Abba, we're grateful to you for your love and your mercy, which endures forever. I'm asking you forgiveness for all our sins, the whole house of Israel, from the beginning even until now, from our elders down to the little ones. Forgive us our trespasses, bring us back to you. Restore the covenant, Father, that you have promised to the house of Israel so long ago. I pray you will regather us from the four corners of this earth. I pray that you will be our ultimate teacher, as it is written in the book of Isaiah, that you will teach us again. Be with us, guide my lips, and help me to speak your words. We thank you in Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Hallelujah. All right, family, let us look at the songs of Zion. This will be an introduction. I'm not even sure how far we can go with it, but there's so many parts to this thing. When I started to look into it, I said, okay, it's going to be a little bit. So I was asked by our sister, Sterdina, when can I do a class? When will I be able to do a class on the subject? And I have mentioned it from past time. And I said, you know, it's about time for me to start, because we talked about so many different things. And one thing that we ought to go into, we need to go into about identifying Israel through song. First, we need to get an understanding with the history of Israel and with the singing and stuff. And we need to look at even lyrics from various places in the diaspora. We need to also look at our musical instruments, and we need to understand that everything pertaining to worship with Israel have songs and psalms and such like. So we are going to embark on this journey where we can gain some understanding, and our little ones will also see. You know, one thing about our people is that we are known for singing. Sometimes if my wife and I have a little thing going on and she just hear me humming a song, she says, oh, she wants to know where I'm going with that song. So I'm just singing the song. And the song is just, you know, a little tease on whatever it is that we were having a conversation about. But the song is relevant in terms of the situation. We have always had this history of singing songs. And sometimes we have been so far removed from understanding our own culture that we think it's someone else's stuff that we're singing. And we need to know that no, we are the people of the book, and we are rich in singing of songs. Many of you all may be surprised. I know we all are familiar with things like the Gospels here, to call it the Negro spirituals and different forms of music, but there is a certain group of people who pretty much in the South and the West, Southwest, have been capitalizing on cowboy boots and big hats and singing certain songs that people believe comes from them. We call it country music. And you'd be surprised, Mishpachah, that that type of music itself was formulated by our ancestors here in captivity. Even country music has its roots in the Hebrews. There is nothing new under the sun. We built this nation here in America and many nations throughout Europe and throughout the world. And the nations have a custom, after the people have finished building, let's get rid of them. There were an excavation that was done in New York. Right in New York, right where pretty much the financial district is. And when they were trying to erect a new building, They tore down the old one. They found underneath the foundation bodies of little Israelites, different sizes, who died young. And according to the history, because the people started to survey and look into the research and stuff, and they found out that these were slaves that were used to build up New York. When they were done, they just put a building over them to erase the memory of the people who built up New York. It is nothing strange, Mishpachah. This is just a example of many things that has happened to us in this diaspora. The same way they have buried us underneath rubble and you name it, our music also has been buried, stolen, and being made new as if it belongs to somebody else. A lot of the country singers out there owe it. The lyrics are written by Hebrews that you didn't even know wrote the songs. And they're always looking in the catalog for a new hit. That's the European Gentiles, whose roots are from Scotland and Ireland and those places. And they're looking through the catalog, trying to find the latest hits. And then when they get one, you'd be surprised who was the author of many of those things. So I hope that we can have the time to go into that. Maybe not today, but we will definitely cover that. So this is going to be, today is going to be an overview, and we'll take this journey together. Question: Christian music. What Christian songs were sung by the apostles while in prison? What Christian songs? You remember in the book of Acts, it spoke about the apostles were in prison and they sang songs, and even the prison doors were busted open, earthquake. And so what songs were they singing? What were the Christian songs that they were singing? In the sweet by and by. No? Ima, you want to say something? What song were they singing?
I was saying they were singing Hebrew songs, not Christian songs.
Hebrew songs.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, not Christian songs.
No, because the Bible says that they were first called Christians in Antioch. So were they singing Christian songs from Antioch? Okay. Well, I don't know. You all having problems with the connection, Ms. Paka? Can you all see the screen? Is it clear? Let me know if there's any problems so I can reset if I have to. It's clear? Okay. All right. If anyone is having problems, you may need to reset on your side. Sometimes we have the mouse will leave these trails behind when I move the mouse around, or if I switch things, you may have some problems. It's either with the internet or just software. So if there's any problems, let me know as soon as possible so we can be clear, all right? Okay, so again, greetings to all of you all. I hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for being here on this Shabbat day. So the question again is, what songs, Christian songs, were sung by the apostles while in prison? Well, let us take a look at this right here. We have always been known to have songs throughout the history of Israel. And the songs speak of the pain of our people, but the songs also give us comfort. The book of Psalms 137, if you can read for me, please. Verses 4, what does it say?
How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
How shall we sing the Christian song in a strange land? Is that what it said?
Yehovah.
The Most High song in a strange land. That is diaspora, the songs of diaspora. This is written before there was a diaspora. So this song was prophetic. Okay, we will look at the whole thing in a little bit. But this song was prophetic. In other words, David was prophesying that Israel was going to have an issue with singing in strange countries. Book of Romans chapter 15 and verses 4. Let's read.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning,
What else?
that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures.
Of what?
Comfort of the scriptures.
Of Christian
scriptures,
songs. Of what?
Scriptures.
Scriptures
Might have hope.
might have hope. Comfort of the scriptures. So let me ask the question again. What Christian music, what Christian songs were sung by the apostles while in prison? What do you think the answer would be? Did they have the New Testament? No, Mishpachah. No. What they had was scriptures, the Tanakh, the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, the Nevi'im and the Ketuvim. That's what they had, and they took these things, make songs out of them, and while in prison, the Lord is my shepherd. Elder, you want to grab the mic and sing for the Mishpachah? All right. I know you still got it in you. All praises. If you want to come up, Elder, and sing with me, you can too. No? Sure? You're going to behave yourself wisely in a perfect way? Hallelujah. The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and 19. Let us read.
Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to Yahuwah.
I have the depiction of lions. It's there for a reason, because not only is the lamb one of our symbols, or the sheep, but also the lion, which is the power, the arm of power. You know, it says that the lion will lie down with the lamb. I don't know if most people catch it, but they think it's lions laying down with the real lamb, which is possible, but it's the two houses of Israel. The lost sheep of the house of Israel and the tribe of Judah, the power, central power together under the Mashiach. And the symbol of the lion has been our symbol for a very long time. In Great Britain, you know that they have hijacked that symbol. They call it the British lion. Have you ever seen or known of any lions roaming around in England? Brother Dawid, maybe you can help me out and post something in the chat room. Sister Nikki, if you're there, maybe you can help us out too. Probably you can let me know if there's any lions roaming around over there. But I do know there are lions all over the earth. Guess where? In prison. We call them zoos. All right? And the lions are not happy. They're not happy at all. And that's a reflection of our own personal captivity, ourselves as a nation. You can see the arrows are shot through, and this is a female lioness, which is a female lion. And she's wounded. And she's what? She's crying out. Always crying out, even when they're wounded. That is the nature of our people. Let's get Colossians 3 and 16. So not only speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and Christian songs. Are you sure? Songbooks, Christian songbooks. Oh, okay. Singing and making melody in your hearts to Yahuwah. So the Christian church is reading this stuff. When you open the book, you see nothing that have to do with the Psalms. And the Psalms speak of Israel. By the rivers of Babylon. But they said, you know, let's just make this into Casper the Friendly Ghost. We're going to make this spiritual. And it's going to be for us. Colossians 3 and 16, let's read.
Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms, in hymns, and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to Yahuwah.
All right, Mishpachah, let's take one more. James 5 and 13. Let's see what it says.
Is any among you afflicted?
Any among you afflicted? Remember that James was writing to who? James chapter 1 and verses 1, what does it say? To the 12 tribes scattered abroad. So he's saying, if any of you of the 12 tribes are afflicted, what does he say?
Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms.
Hallelujah. Okay? We were a people whose roots have always been in the scriptures. The scriptures, Mishpachah. And we need to get back to that. A lot of these days we got knuckleheads, as Brother Benjamin had shared with me, Kanye the West. His mind is so West, he's so Greek, that he's causing confusion in Israel, making merchandise of our people. And so many people want to follow this guy and his bewitchery. Mishpachah, we need to be a light to our people. Psalms 137 from the top, verses 1.
By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion.
When we remember the church.
Zion.
Catholic Church.
Zion.
Baptist.
When we remembered Zion.
This doesn't make any sense. David was not in Babylon. It was many years later that the children of Israel went into Babylon. Okay? So what is he doing, Mishpachah? He's prophesying. Okay? He's prophesying. Verses 2.
We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
If you watched one of the original slave movies they call Roots, there was a guy who was a main character, apart from Kunta Kinte. He was the instructor for Kunta Kinte. You all remember his name? He was called what? Fiddler. Fiddler. And Massa was always requiring him a song. Especially when things was looking bad on the plantation, they always require from us a song. Okay? And I think you all should see that because he was playing, what was he playing? What was he playing? A fiddle, Mishpachah. And this is where we have the music kind of part, fiddles into country music and whatnot. That's another class. All right, let's continue.
And they that wasted us.
That what?
Wasted us.
Wasted us. How did they waste us? Anyone knows?
Working from one.
Slavery.
Yeah, working from morning to night.
From morning before the sun has risen to after the sun has set. Okay, they wasted us. Require what?
Required of us mirth.
Songs. Go ahead.
Saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Oh, did it say sing us a Christian song? No. Zion. All right, Zion. Verses 4.
How shall we sing Yahuwah's song in a strange land?
So we're asking the question. I mean, you want us to sing the song about Zion, but we're in the wrong place. Okay, we're in the wrong place. Go ahead and read.
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem.
Or heaven.
O Jerusalem.
Or the Vatican.
O Jerusalem. Let my right hand forget her cunning.
We already knew that the Most High made a contract, not for us to be in heaven, but for us to be in Jerusalem. We pray towards heaven on the behalf of Jerusalem. We don't pray for Mecca. We don't pray for Baptists. We don't sing any songs that have to do with anything other than our own roots, what belongs to us. Okay? Let my right hand forget her cunning. Let's continue on.
If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Yahuwah, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof.
Notice it says the children of Edom. But wait a minute. Why would David even talk about raising it, the foundation thereof, when he was sitting on a throne that he built and he was protecting? Was Edom doing anything to Israel at that time? No. Okay? So again, this is a prophecy of something that was to come in the future. Verses 8.
O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
That was part of our song. That was part of our songs, Mishpachah. But if you're in prison, you can't be singing, dash their head against the stone, break a couple of their bones. We can't sing those kind of songs. Right? Because John the Baptist was preaching while he was in that in Herod's prison. And what happened to him? His wife, Herod's wife, demanded his head. Okay? Yes, Dochumwell, what's on your mind?
Just last week, we were in connection with last week back in the book of Maccabees, when we see that the lady or people try to circumcise their children, to take the young ones and dash their head against the stones. And also, I can't remember what's writings, it also said how they take the children and treat them bad and kill them, the parents likewise.
That's evil. That is very evil. And the Most High has not forgotten Shmuel, and I'm sure that the people want to forget it. He's hoping that they will forget it. But the Most High must pay back and bring balance, equity for the crimes that were committed on this earth. I want to go through a general history. And on the screen, you can see this is a coin that was minted somewhere around the Bar Kokhba revolt. This is after the destruction of Jerusalem. We had another revolt. And this is some coins that were minted. You can see there are two trumpets, silver trumpets. And then you see there is a harp or a lyre. This is also like a harp. Okay. And the Paleo-Hebrew is on the coins. In other words, Mishpachah, we were people who was deeply rooted in music. So I'm going to pull up the history of music in the biblical period from Wikipedia. We're going to read this article. It's a lot of reading, but we'll try to go through it and skip through a few things so we can gain some understanding. And I want to share with you all some samples of music and whatnot before today is out, okay? Ready for me? Let me pull it up. Oops, why is this thing so small? Okay, let me do this. Give me 1 second. Here we go. It doesn't like to be expanded across the screen. All right, here we go. History of music in the biblical period. So let's go ahead and read. You have it, your sheet there with you. You can read from that too if you have any problems.
Knowledge,
all right. Go ahead.
Knowledge of the biblical period is mostly from literary references in the Bible and post-biblical sources. Religion and music historian Herbert Lockyer Jr. writes that music, both vocal and instrumental, was well cultivated among the Hebrews.
It was well cultivated among Hebrews. Go ahead.
The New Testament Christians and the Christian church through the centuries. He adds that a look at the Old Testament reveals how God's ancient people were devoted to the study and practice of music, which holds a unique place in the historical and prophetic books as well as the Psalter.
Continue.
The music of religious ritual was first used by King David, according to the Larousse Encyclopedia of Music. He is credited with confirming the men of the tribe of Levi as the custodians of the music of the divine service.
So David had set up You can call it the choir by using the Levites. Okay? And we're going to go to the book of First Kings in a moment. But let's finish up that paragraph and where it says Western civilization, then we'll pull up the scriptures, okay?
Historian Irene Hess notes that of the 39 books of the Old Testament, the 150 Psalms in the book of Psalms ascribed to King David have served as the bedrock of Judeo-Christian hymnology, concluding that no other poetry has been set to music more often in Western civilization.
So-called Western uncivilization has been using Hebrew stuff, particularly the book of Psalms 150, to build their songbooks or whatever the case may be. So the so-called church was feeding off of Hebrew literature, Hebrew stuff, right? But yet they want nothing to do with the so-called Hebrews and the so-called Hebrew culture and whatnot. They want nothing to do with that. Let's read First Kings chapter 10, and we'll go down to verses, let's see, it's First Kings chapter 10, and we'll read verses 12. Let me see. Okay, that's probably not the one I want, but we'll just read this for an example, okay? Go ahead and read.
Verse 12. And the king made...
Actually, stop. Let's go to Chronicles instead. Chronicles. We'll go to Chronicles instead. That one is good, but I want to go to Chronicles. First Chronicles. And let's go to chapter 15. And we'll read that one instead. 15. Let's start at verses 1. First Chronicles 15, verses 1.
And David made him houses in the city of David, and prepared a place for the ark of Yahuwah, and pitched for it a tent. Then David said, none ought to carry the ark of Elohim but the Levites. For them hath Yahuwah chosen to carry the ark of Elohim to minister unto him forever.
All right, let's skip on down to verses 15. Let's read that.
And the children of the Levites bear the ark of Elohim upon their shoulders with the staves thereon, as Moses commanded according to the word of Yahuwah.
Verses 16.
And David spake to the chief of the Levites to appoint their brethren to be the singers with instruments of music, psalteries and harps and cymbals, sounding by lifting up the voice with joy.
So the article is correct that David was the first one to really organize this type of worship with the Psalms. Remember, he was one who was singing the songs, writing the songs and casting out evil spirits with music. We're going to cover that another time because that's very, very important, how music can either take something out or put something in. And we have to be very careful. In music, there are different chords that is utilized. You have the major chords, minor chords, and all the other stuff that wraps around that. When you utilize mainly minor chords, it sets a different mood, a very emotional mood. When you use mainly major chords, it gives us a more marching type mood, straightforward more. But as soon as you change and add the minor in there, it makes it very emotional. Okay? So a person can be, if you want to go like war, you hit the major stuff, and if you want to kind of calm it down a little bit, you hit the minor notes and whatnot. Okay, so David was involved in setting up singers of instruments of music, psalteries, harps, cymbals, sounding by lifting up the voice with what? Joy. Hallelujah. Okay. Let's skip on down to verses 19. Go ahead and read.
So the singers, Heman, Asaph, and Ethan, were appointed to sound with cymbals of brass.
Mm-hmm. And let's jump on down to verses 27. I'll actually read 21 and we'll read
and
down just a little bit.
Mattatiah, and Eliphilah, and Micniah, and Obed-Edom, and Jael, and Azaziah with harps on the Sheminith to excel.
Verses 22.
And Chenaniah, chief of the Levites, was for song. He instructed about the song because he was skillful.
You know what you call that in today's word? Maestro. The conductor. He was a chief one teaching them, and you know, with the little thing, this is where to get it from, Mishpachah. Directing the choir, teaching them the different notes and what to do and what instruments that needs to be played and when to come in. He was the director of music. All right. Let us read verses 27.
And David was clothed with a robe of fine linen, and all the Levites that bear the ark, and the singers.
So David was clothed with nice polyester.
Fine
shining,
linen.
His buttocks were shining with polyester. Bell bottoms. No? Okay. Read it again for me, please.
And David was clothed with a robe of fine linen, and all the Levites that bear the ark, and the singers, and Chenaniah, the master of the song, with the singers. David also had upon him an ephod of linen.
This is some serious business, Mishpachah. Just touch it a little bit. Let's go back to our article. Okay, the study of ancient musical instruments. You can pick it up from there.
The study of ancient musical instruments has been practiced for centuries, with some researchers studying instruments from Israel dating to the biblical period. Archaeological and written data have demonstrated clearly that music was an integral part of daily life in ancient Israel, Palestine.
That sounds like us, Mishpachah. An integral part. We're always singing songs from the time we wake up, we're playing, we're working. Songs were always sung among our people. And the interesting thing about this is that we are known to be a very rhythmic people. We have rhythm. We can hear the music and we can feel the music, and we actually synchronize with the music. We're not a people who the music is playing, the music is going, the beat is going one way, and we're going a different direction. Does that make any sense? It's like watching a video. Your mouth is moving, you're hearing the sound, and the mouth is moving, but it doesn't synchronize with the sound at all. It's off. You can say something is wrong with this video. Can't you fix the video? Now, who's going to watch a video where your mouth is going like those kung fu movies? Moving one way. Huh, Mishpachah? Can you imagine back in the day, David is playing all the stuff. The master of the choir is playing the music, but they're dancing in a different way. Brother Kevin, what do you think about that? Yeah. That's not going to work, okay? So it has always been part of our culture. Let's read. Figurines.
Figurines and iconographic depictions show that people played chordophones and frame drums, and that the human voice was essential as women and men sang love songs along with laments for the deceased.
See that? Men and women sang what kind of songs?
Love songs.
Who sing the best love songs?
David.
Well, I mean, even today, in today's world, people say, listen, Valentine's Day, they want to get a, brother can't even sing that well. Barry White, was it Barry White? Baby, some chocolates or whatever it is, that deep. We all know, Mishpachah, that our people write some very soulful songs, okay? It was part of the culture. So when they dug into ancient Israel, they found love songs, okay? Love songs. Now, the chordophones are stringed instruments, and the frame drums. It's like the tambourine, but a little bit deeper, much deeper, so give a nice rhythm, all right? Okay, let's continue on.
Data also describes outdoor scenes of music and dancing in sometimes prophetic frenzies, often with carefully orchestrated and choreographed musicians and singers within specially built structures.
Ima, can you get me, I think it's in the book of 1 Samuel, where they said, is Saul among the prophets? Get that for me, Ima. I think you know where that is. Or if someone in the chat room can find it real quick, we can pull it up. All right, so it says that they found data that we had our parties outside, scenes of music and dancing, and sometimes prophetic frenzies. It's like we're such in deep pulse of music that we start to go off into that spiritual realm. Often with carefully orchestrated and choreographed musicians and singers within specially built structures. Yes, Christian, definitely block parties. But the block parties that we have today is out of hand, right? Yeah, the sound system, and, the big boom box. And, you know, you can always tell, in most cases, you can tell a Hebrew is coming close to you when you're on the road, when you hear him boom, and the back of your vehicle is vibrating. He says, oh, man, this is a lost Hebrew. Because the boom follows all kinds of mother this and mother that. I'm going to kill so-and-so. I'm going to, all kinds of slackness. Y'all got it? 1 Samuel 10 and 11. Thank you, Sister Yehudit. All right, so let's go there. 1 Samuel. First Samuel chapter 10. And let us read for the Mishpachah. I'm just going to pick it up at verses 11. Let's start at verses 10, okay? Go ahead and read.
And when they came thither to the hill,
that's outside, right? Okay.
Behold, a company of prophets met him, and the spirit of Elohim came upon him, and he prophesied among them. And it came to pass, when all that knew him before time saw that, behold, he prophesied among the prophets, then the people said one to another, what is this that is come unto the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets?
Now, these men that were prophesying were also playing musical instruments. You can dig into that and you can find out that whole thing. But they were all singing with musical instruments. Go back up to verses 5. Let's prove that.
After that, thou shalt come to the hill of Elohim, where is the garrison of the Philistines. And it shall come to pass, when thou art come thither to the city, that thou shalt meet a company of prophets coming down from the high place with a psaltery and a tabret and a pipe and a harp before them, and they shall prophesy.
Verse 6.
And the Spirit of Jehovah shall come upon thee,
Mm-hmm.
and thou shalt prophesy with them, and shalt be turned into another man.
See that? So this was part of our culture. The music was very spiritual. Let's continue back with the article. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
According to ancient music historian Theodore Bird, if we were able to step into the biblical period, we would find a culture filled with music, where people used music in their daily lives.
This is a very big clue, because all you have to do is put all the peoples on the earth, just lay them out. Let's make it a little simpler. Let's look at the western side of the world. And you look at the people who is always in music, always got something in their ears listening to in this modern time. Their phones or their things have more CDs and music files than anything else. Guess who you're going to see on the picture that shows up? The sons of daughter and daughters of the captivity. We're the ones that is not only, I mean, sometimes you hear them running them out, blah, 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 walking the streets, going on the bus, going on the train. Just within our culture must be music. You're washing the dishes, music is playing. You're cutting the lawn, music is playing. You're in the car, music. It's always music, 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 music. Other people are not like that. Okay? So this is why it says if you step into the past, we should find a culture filled with music, where people use music in their daily lives. We are spiritual people. Okay? All right, let's continue on. Such music
was capable of expressing a great variety of moods and feelings, or the broadly marked antithesis of joy and sorrow, hope and fear, faith and doubt. In fact, every shade and quality of sentiment are found in the wealth of songs and psalms and in the diverse melodies of the people.
Of the people, not all people, the people. All right. Let me see where I want to go. I'm going to skip the one with Egypt. We're going to go down to, let me see. Let's go to Sumer and Babylonia. And if you look at the one under Egypt, you're going to see that the Greeks got their influence of music from Egypt. Okay, that means that the Greeks were basically like bland. No spice, no sugar. So let's go to Sumer and Babylonia. And we're going to read where it says because.
Because of the political interrelations between the Hebrews and the Semitic nations of Babylonia, Assyria, and the Hittite Empire, there were similarities between the Hebrew music of the Judean people and the others.
So that whole area, the flavor was pretty much the same. Okay, and when you dig into the background of the people, you will see that these were mainly people of color. I was watching, and my wife and I was looking at peeping this show, Naked and Afraid. You ever seen that show before? It shows these Gentiles who go to the rainforest and they take off all the clothes. They don't show you, they just, the nakedness is pretty much covered or blurred, but you can see that they're naked. And they're in the jungle with nothing, but they have to survive with just maybe a machete and maybe a mosquito net. That's about it. And immediately, as soon as the sun hit them, first thing one of the guys did was took mud and put around his neck and his shoulders. Mud. You know what color mud is? And that's why they call us the mud people. To protect his skin from the sun. The woman who was from Alaska that we were looking at, they're all trained now. They're all ex-military people. As soon as she got into the sun, her skin started to blister and get water blisters all over it and peeling. Getting real bad. That night, they couldn't sleep. They were tossing and turning because the skin, they couldn't lay. It's like they were suffering at night. When you think the night will give them a break, that they can rest, they're suffering at night. And I'm saying, I look to my wife and says, how can these people spend 30 days in Egypt working as slaves in Egypt? Egypt, where there's no cover of trees like the way it is in the jungle. And the temperature is even hotter than the jungle. And I'm saying, how do these people, how can they lie to us and tell us that Moses was a white guy? Joseph had blonde hair and blue eyes. That these Israelites look like Europeans. Come on, Mishpachah. Are we that dumb? No. Because nature will show you right off the bat. Slaves don't have the luxury of wearing a bunch of clothing. You know how hard it is to work with a bunch of covering on your body, making bricks all day in the hot sun? In the desert, Ima. But they want to tell us in churchianity, first thing they do, welcome to Sunday school, welcome to Jesus, and give the children, here's a little coloring book, here you go, Susie, here you go. And you sit down with the crayons and you're seeing all these Europeans. There's no brown crayons to cover anything. And you got the pink, peach coloring thing, and you coloring, Jesus is, And out of Egypt I call my son. Oh, Jesus, and me can coloring Jesus, you coloring Moses, that's Moses, and all that stuff. And the children are bewitched. And we are so stupid. Sit there and suck all that stuff up, and we can't see that nature will tell you, go try that stuff. Just go out, because I don't remember any kind of a sunblock. Maybe they had sunblock. Maybe Joseph says, my people come, I got a new invention, sunblock. You can rub it on your skin. But in the spirit, I can see it's black. In the spirit, I can see it's black. But when you look at it, it's going to be white. You're going to be okay. You know how ridiculous that is? Mishpachah. The people were all people that can withstand the heat. People of color who can stand the sun. Why do you think that the Europeans went and got our people and scatter us all over the world to build their places until they had the invention of air conditioning, which was invented by our people? You look it up. AC was created by us, invented by us. From the time they got the machines and stuff, then they says, we don't need y'all anymore. Push you all to the side. Okay? So read that again. Because
of the political interrelations between the Hebrews and the Semitic nations of Babylonia, Assyria, and the Hittite Empire, there were similarities between the Hebrew music of the Judean people and the others. Jewish music began in the early years of tribal life, and the references to music in the Bible are numerous.
Numerous, it's everywhere.
Writes Ulrich. After the Hebrews established a kingdom in Israel, their musical activities were to increase substantially.
So when David set up everything, it's like we got bigger. What do you find today, Mishpachah? When our music started to get out into the Gentile world, we started to hit top 10 stuff. I mean, come on now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go to ancient Israel.
According to music historian Abraham Schwadron, probably the most important musical contribution of the ancient Hebrews was the elevation of status of liturgical music in union with ritual ceremonies. He notes the high degree of musical liturgical organization from the descriptive accounts of King Solomon's temple. From the descriptive accounts of King Solomon's temple, such as the 24 choral groups consisting of 288 musicians, which took part in 21 weekly services.
Mishpachah, that's a lot of services, right? 21 weekly services. 288 musicians. This guy was doing something special. All right, let's continue on.
Despite the similar instruments used by the Hebrews, which were also used in neighboring cultures, including Phoenicia, Egypt, Assyria, and Greece, Schwadron writes that it would be accurate to state that it is in the particular uses of music, sacred and secular, ethical and aesthetical, that ancient Jewish music made a unique contribution.
Hebrews. All right, the Hebrews. Let's continue on.
Music historian John Stainer notes that the earlier relationship between Abraham and the Canaanites, in all probability influenced future Hebrew music, and which probably caused his posterity to carry a certain amount of Assyrian music or musical instruments into Egypt.
Now, what this is saying is that the Canaanites also had an effect on us too. But let us review the Canaanites real quick. Because again, the coloring books show the Canaanites as being white. But when you go to the church, they said how black people were cursed by being black, because Noah cursed us and we became black. Ham received that curse and we became black, which is a lie, because it was only Canaan. And the Canaanites are the ones who populated that whole region, which is called the land of Canaan, or Israel today. Okay? And again, the Canaanites were the children of Ham. And if the scientists are saying, the scholars are saying that Ham was a black man, and if Abraham and Ham, black, was intermingling with each other in that region, Mishpachah, the music was black music all the way through, so-called black music. And in other words, the black music was the foundation of the music that has hit the world many more times over, even today in the so-called Christian church. We're looking at the roots right here, okay? So let's continue on.
He adds that a stay of 4 centuries in so civilized a culture as Egypt must have largely added to their knowledge of the art.
Because we always intermingle with Shemites and Hamites. That's the way Israel lived. Because Babylon was built by the nation of Ham, Nimrod. But Abraham came from that region because we were all living in that same vicinity for a period of time. Abraham left over there and came over to another Hamitic area. And some of Israelites married Hamites. Okay? We were told not to marry that local population, but we could have married others through war that was in a far area. But we always kept this relationship between Hamitic people and Shemitic people, all right? Okay, so let's continue on.
Although the ancient music of the Psalms and the other Bible books, which were all chanted, is often thought to be lost, the Masoretic text of the Hebrew Bible contains cantillation marks indicating a melodic line for the words. Following the French archaeomusicologists Suzanne Hayek Ventura, some authorities now argue that these cantillation marks date from the temple times and record the music sung in the temple. Attempts have been made to decipher them in modern musical notation.
All right, that's all we want from that. So we're going to save the rest of the history for another time. Let's read, because we got to go into the instruments, and there's a lot of information, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to share some other things with you all. So let's leave that to the side, and let's go back to this right here. Okay. Let us go just to touch a little bit to Genesis chapter 31 and 20. Let's see where we want to go. Genesis 31. 31, and let me see. We'll go down to verses 27, but let me see. So this is during the time of Jacob and his struggle with his uncle Laban and taking his family out from that captivity he was in with his uncle so he can set up his own empire. So go down to verses 27. And let me see here. Let's start at 25. Genesis 31 and 25. We'll read down to verses 27.
Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead.
So Laban was doing a bounty hunt thing here, trying to catch up to Jacob, and he got Jacob, and he wanted to bring Jacob back to work, okay? Because Jacob was blessing him so much. Verses 26.
And Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword?
You kidnapped my children, my girls. Okay, verses 27.
Wherefore dost thou flee away secretly and steal away from me, and dost not tell me that I might have sent thee away with mirth and with songs, with tabret and with harp?
So Laban was family to Abraham, okay? Abraham's brothers and whatnot. And Laban also was well aware of musical instruments. And he's saying, listen, we have a practice. If we're going to send people away, you're going to go on your journey. We're going to have a party. We're going to bring out the goat stew goat. Right? We're going to roast a calf, barbecue. You know, Hebrews like to have a good barbecue, right? I don't like to use the word barbecue, but we don't have to. Well, let's see. What other words can we use? A nice roast. We throw that thing in the grill, right, Brother Kevin? Right? We throw that thing in the grill. Well, we flip that thing a few times. We make sure it's well done, right, Brother Kelvin? Well done. We got to make sure we don't see no blood, nothing dripping, no pink, right? The corn is on the cobs. Boy, we got that music just blasting everywhere. Everybody's dancing with something in their hand, bouncing. That's Israel. That's the culture that we came from. And he's saying, listen, I wanted you all to go out in style. I want you all to have a big party, have a good time. But, you know, many of us, we can't even celebrate today because we're in captivity. As soon as we start putting out the barbecue, we're thinking about, I got to go to work tonight or first thing in the morning, so let's wrap it up. We got feasts coming up, and half of us can't even keep the feast because what? The feast is supposed to be for a whole week. Tabernacles, party every single day. Food, call it in patois, fete. Fete. festival, festivities. Feliz, right? So now, read that again, 27 into 28.
Wherefore dost thou flee away secretly and steal away from me, and dost not tell me that I might have sent thee away with mirth and with songs, with tabret and with harp, and has not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing.
All right, that's all we need. I wanted to bring that up to share with you that we were people of music culture. All right, Exodus 15 and verses 1. Exodus 15 and 1. Let's go there, and we're gonna retrace a lot of things in the scriptures the next time we come back together on this. But I wanted to highlight a few things before we go into some other articles and some video clips, okay? Then, Exodus 15 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto Yahweh, and spake, saying, I will sing unto Yahweh, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea.
All right. So we can see that Moses himself was putting together some lyrics and stuff. That's the culture of our people. We write some good lyrics also. Okay, Mishpachah, let us look at some samples. Well, we'll look at the samples in a moment, but I want to share this with you all first and foremost. This is a documentary. It's called Awake Zion, that Ashkenazim had done concerning reggae music, or the music of Israel in the Caribbean diaspora. And let me see if I can pull it up here. Try this. Okay, that one is not coming up. I guess they didn't want me to pull that one up, so let's move it to the trash. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, so on the screen you can see a group of people. In Awake Zion, Monica Haim, which is a Jewish lady, traveled from Manhattan to Jamaica to Israel to interview Rastafarians and rabbis whose explanation of themselves sounds strikingly similar. What she did was, I think it's the lady in the yellow shirt right here, as you can see. What she did was she talked about it too. Hopefully I would have it here. She went to a concert and she realized that, wait a minute, the music, the songs that were sung, the lyrics about Zion and whatnot, the way the people are moving and stuff, reminds me of a lot of things the rabbis were doing. And she says, is there a connection between these people and ourselves? So she went to explore things from that perspective. So let me play this video. Let me pull it up so y'all can see. And I think we got a few cuts. Let me see what else. Give me 1 second, Mishpachah. Okay, I'll make sure I get the right one. Okay, so let me play a few of these here. Get this one here. There we go.
Rastas have dreadlocks, Jews have side curls. With a fascinating cast of characters, the documentary Awake Zion explores the connection between Judaism and Rastafarianism and finds that Jews and Rastas have more in common than one might think. We got an exclusive tour of the legendary Jewish-owned reggae record store Jamuland, where Awake Zion's director, Monica Haim, shared some of her most interesting stories.
Once when I was here, I met Congo Ashanti Roy, who is a serious roots man in Jamaica, and he's the one that introduced me to the elder Bongo Daniel, who was sort of the star of the film.
The inspiration for Awake Zion came to Monica when she saw the reggae artist Sister Carol perform live for the first time.
See this very powerful, gorgeous queen empress on stage singing about words like Zion and Israelites and Solomon and Sheba and David and words that I had associated to Judaism. One day I saw her on the customs line on my way to Jamaica in the airport, and she ended up being in the film.
One of the most fascinating characters in the film is Nigel the Admore, a Breslov Chassid who is also a reggae MC. When he moved to Israel, he brought dancehall music with him.
It's very funny because this is Breslov Chassid, you know, in full regalia, but he can rhyme like the best of them.
Some of the most interesting personalities came to Monica in the most unexpected ways.
My editor came home one day and he said, there's a guy in my kickboxing class who's got dreadlocks and tattoos of the Old Testament all over his body. I'm like, let's interview him. And so we met him and we realized it was Dr. Israel, like a pretty well-known Brooklyn-based sort of indie punk dub artist. He's definitely somebody who feels the Old Testament presence in Rasta culture and expresses it, I guess, in his own modern way.
The Jewish Rastafarian connection goes all the way back to the founder of Rastafarianism.
That's Haile Selassie, who is said to be the 225th descendant of Solomon, the Jewish King Solomon, and Queen of Sheba.
It's a shared religious tradition that's blatantly stated on reggae album covers. With his platinum record sales, the Hasidic reggae star Matisyahu has become the most visible symbol of this connection. Even hardcore reggae fans can't get enough of him.
Malcolm, do you guys carry Matisyahu's record here? Look at that. Sold out of Matisyahu's records at Jamland.
One of the most interesting connections between Judaism and Rastafarianism is the least obvious.
We do smell some spices at the end of the Sabbath to herald in the new work week. That's an aromatic kind of ritualized thing, not unlike the use of marijuana in Rasta culture.
Rastaman use these chalice to give thanks and praise when we burn herb.
It's a sacrament. It's a sacred thing. A woman is not even allowed to smoke with a man in strict Rasta cultures in Jamaica.
But sometimes the connection is really all about the reggae music.
It's a music of love and understanding, of peace certainly, and and even though it has a very positive, cheerful sentiment, it comes from resistance and it comes from struggle and it comes from pain, which is very Jewish actually.
Come from struggle and it comes from pain, which is very Jewish. I don't know if the Jewish people, so-called Jewish people, are struggling the way we are struggling. Huh? No. But you can see the thievery of what's going on. Let me play one more. Let me see this trailer here. Okay, let me close this one out. I had another one to play, but it's not coming up. So I want you all just to see what is happening. And we're going to dig deeper into some of this stuff.
Me sexy by harmony and me cashmere sweater, James Bond, 007, I never look better. Me tap it with my Russian sable makeup. Me don't have the Jamaican rum affair, clear me throat. Man, I'm one up on the blind date again. Me rather see the other lions than that's it. Wheel.
The 12 tribes of Israel in the Old Testament, were they Jews or were they black? Or were they both?
Were they Jews or were they black? Or were they both? Jews,
yeah.
It says in the Torah that you shall not cut the corners of your head.
And the locks of my head shall not wither. Everything that he doeth shall prosper.
I love reggae because it talks about Zion.
And I think in my mind that they couldn't relate to my life, they couldn't listen to my music. And to see that this guy is holding spirituality with what he has, No exaltation point, you know? I love that.
It's history. Like, whose is it? Is it my history? Is it my history because I'm black? Is it your history because you're Jewish?
But as I go on, I start to get to them try. Get to them try, so both of us are the same. All right. That's it. That's it.
All right. All right, Mishpaka. So you can see what has been happening out there. That they found a connection and tried to hijack the Hebrews in the Caribbean diaspora and claim it to be their own, making lots of monies. When this guy Matisyahu is touring around the world making his millions, Hebrews who are singing against sodomite lifestyle is being banned from singing anywhere. Can you imagine that? Think about that, Mishpaka. I want to bring up this interview with one of the Jewish guys who is called Matisyahu, Hasidic singer that has been using reggae music for a while. So let's look at this interview. We're just going to go right to this part where it says, yeah, if you can read that part for me. Let me make it bigger so we all can see it. And let me do this real quick. Single page. Oops, that's not working. Single page. 1 second. All right, there we go. So we're going to go to where it says overall.
Okay. Overall, it was a very organic experience for me. It wasn't an overnight thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was the type of thing that really grew over time. When I was a teenager, I started listening to Bob Marley
Mm-hmm.
and reggae music.
So this is where this Hasidic Jewish guy got his inspiration from the true Hebrews. Read on.
And I really felt all the references to Judaism in there, to the Old Testament, in the lyrics of those songs.
In the lyrics of those songs. So where are the people getting the stuff from? Read on.
And the spirituality there.
Spirituality. So he recognized. Remember we read Saul is going to go meet those guys playing some music, and the Spirit of the Most High is going to fall upon him, and he'll be prophesying among the prophets. Okay, there's something spiritual about our music. This is why it's called Negro spirituals, and reggae music is also very spiritual music. Okay, go ahead and read.
A lot of it is influenced and borrowed from Judaism and the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the initial draws to me, to explore Judaism on a deeper level. That's one thing.
So our music caused him to explore further into the Hebrew culture, but he called it Judaism, right? Skip on down to says in college. So he wants to explore. That's what he wants to do. Let's see where he goes to explore. Let's see where he goes to explore. Read.
In college, I took a class on race studies.
He took a class on what kind of studies?
Race.
Asian race? Japanese race? Japhetic race?
We'll see.
Let's see what it says.
All of us white kids.
Who?
All of us white
What did he call himself?
White.
Go ahead.
We were taking the class expecting the black kids and the black teacher to tell us what it's like to be black in America.
Slave, it's hard. Slavery is hard. They want to know from us what it's like, okay? Now, why would a person who's supposed to be singing songs about the suffering ask a question about suffering? Does that make any sense to you? All right, just keep thinking. He could have simply said, I understand. You don't have to ask something if you're in it. I look at you, I know you're suffering, I'm suffering too. But for me to go ask you what it's like, meaning that we're two different people. You don't know anything about it. You come up different. Continue reading.
And be in those situations where there's racism.
Go ahead and read.
And on the contrary, the teacher wanted us to talk about what it was like to be white in America.
You talk about yourself. The privileges that you have received. Read.
What it meant to be white and to really explore our identity. It was around that time that I began to really feel a spiritual pull and an emotional pull from a lot of different directions to Judaism. I decided, partially because of influence from that teacher and class, that I wanted to wear a yarmulke and let the outside world know that I'm Jewish, rather to be a secret and something I keep to myself.
Okay, that's all I need from that. That's all I need from that. Let me share this passage from a book that let's see if we can find it here. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. This is from a book. Okay, come on. Y'all see it on the screen? Let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay, open this up. Can everyone see it? Okay. So this is from a book called, I have it right here, The Jewish Almanac. The Jewish Almanac, okay? And in the book, it spoke about the all-time all-star Jewish jazz band. Let's go down here and let's see what it says about jazz, because they're claiming Jewish stuff, right? But let's see what they said in the book right here next to the arrow. Read that for me, please.
Jazz always has been and still is rooted in black music.
Rooted where?
In black music.
Black music. Jazz. Okay, read on.
So that all the key innovators so far have been black. For example, Louis Armstrong, Coleman Hawkins, Count Basie, Lester Young, Charlie Christian, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Thelonious Monk.
That's it. There's enough slave names. That's all we need from that. So we can see that the Jewish people in their book, given the histories and stuff, acknowledge that when it comes to music, jazz music, we're the ones who set it up. But they're the ones who control the purse. Who do you think is controlling the music industry? They are. The catalogs of music, they are. When Michael Jackson had gained control of all these musics and stuff, those of you in this room know about the band called the Beatles, right? You want to know where the Beatles started getting their music from? Nigger music that was coming in from America, South, and coming into Liverpool on the ships. The sailors were bringing cotton from the South into Liverpool because Liverpool was a place where textiles material was coming in, and they were all the cotton that the slaves were pulling. And after slavery was so-called over, the raw stuff kept coming in from the South, going to Liverpool. They spun that into cloth and stuff, and ships were bringing lots of goods in. And coming with the goods were what they call nigger music on 45s and stuff. All the music that couldn't play really out on the air and stuff, juke joints and whatnot, they listened to that music. If you listen to the early years of the Beatles, all of this stuff that made them big, twist and shout, you name it, Mr. Postman, all of the stuff is from black people, so-called black people, Hebrews in America. Why do you think that guy called a Rolling Stone, he had the big lips? He was famous for the big lips and trying to shake and do all kinds of stuff. Guess where they got that stuff from? Black music. The list goes on and on. Elvis the Pelvis Presley used to go to the juke joints because they were that was the place that the things was really happening. Our people couldn't go and have our own, go out and have some big place to perform music. So we throw up some galvanized stuff and make a little shed, put up some lights, and had our own guitarists and stuff and sell our little black liquor or whatever, and try to escape the hardship of brutality of slavery and whatnot. And white people could have come over and drink liquor and stuff by us, but we couldn't go over to their places and do anything. And so Elvis learned how to play, how to sing, how to do everything from our people. Okay? My wife and I, we went to a reenactment of Hank Williams, I think it's the senior. And in that play in Tennessee, the people got an earful when they stopped the whole show. They says, do you know where this music comes from? The slaves. Country music, the slaves. And I looked at my wife, she looked at me. All right, let's continue on. Let me do this real quick. So now we're going to look at some samples of Hebraic songs in the Western diaspora. And again, we ask this question, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? So let's dig into it. Try not to be too long today because we will continue the subject. Can you read this for me, please?
The most fascinating are the Rastafarians.
This is from Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, who was Michael Jackson's lawyer at the time. Go ahead and read it again.
The most fascinating are the Rastafarians, who in turn largely model themselves on the Jews.
So they're saying that we are modeling on the Jews. They don't want to say that we are the Jews, but we are modeling on the Jews. Where are these ignorant, nappy-headed black people getting all this information that they want to say that we are modeling from them? We didn't have, when reggae music came out many years ago, what yeshivas were these black people going to get all the stuff that was so-called Jewish? What yeshivas were they going to? What schools? None. Continue reading.
The Rastas believe that Africans are of the lost tribes of Israel.
And Jewish people believe that Europeans are one of the tribes of Israel. Mishpachah. So they're acknowledging that we know that we are from the lost tribes of Israel. Read on.
With a special identification with the King David and the tribe of Judah.
They don't like that. They don't like that. Read on.
The Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, whom they worship as the long-promised biblical Messiah, is everywhere called the conquering Lion of Judah.
And that's a mistake that many of our people have made. Not because Selassie may have some lineage in that respect. Selassie himself did not acknowledge himself as being no Messiah. He said so. Because I have spoken to a Hebrew from Jamaica who was at the airport when Haile Selassie came the first time to Jamaica, and he wouldn't come off the plane. She said the guy wouldn't come off the plane. When he saw all of this smoke coming up, this marijuana, like a cloud all over the place, he wouldn't come off. Haile Selassie is a member of the Ethiopian Orthodox Christian Church. Never declared himself to be any Messiah whatsoever. Now, of course, the reasons why our people, our brethren in Jamaica in particular, had acknowledged Selassie as being the Messiah is because they would not accept the European, blue-eye, blonde hair Jesus the Christ. They wouldn't. Okay? And there's much more. We'll go into that as a separate subject. But let's move on. Continue.
Many Rastas wear the Jewish Star of David with a lion in the middle around their necks. Their diet is essentially kosher, bereft as it is of any animal or dairy products. Many Rastas are extraordinarily well versed in the Bible.
So he's like, this rabbi is acknowledging that these Rastas, most of them probably didn't graduate from any school, maybe like a third grade level or something, or very versed in the scriptures. Okay? But when we looked at Mathasiyahu and the documentary, they're looking to these Hebrews to model music. But this guy is saying that we went to them to get the teachings of the Torah. Which one is it? Is it the chicken or the egg? Which one came first? That's the question. Okay. All right, let me go to this other one here. This is talking about Negro spirituals. Now, this article is put up by David McD. Sims, and it's speaking about the origins of Negro spirituals. If you can read for me, can you see it on the screen? The big one over here, Christianity, okay, which is an excerpt from the last paragraph on page 35, right at the bottom here.
Christianity was a religion with which the slave could easily identify. As the subject themes of the fully developed spirituals evidence, the Negro readily saw himself as the rejected and despised, as the people of Israel longing for a redeemer.
So they're saying that the Negro spirituals was designed because we saw ourselves as the people rejected and despised, and as the people of Israel. Go ahead.
Under the burden of slavery, they could value, in a way the masters could not, the cardinal virtues which Christian...
Well, you can stop there. That's all we need. So we just wanted to show that with reggae music, we always identify with Zion. The Negro spirituals always acknowledge themselves as being Israelites in captivity. Okay, that's what I want to bring out. So let's look at some samples. And this is an unknown author of the Negro spiritual called Go Down Moses. So read the lyrics, this partial lyrics on your right side, and then we'll read the other side.
Go down, Moses. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell all pharaohs to let my people go. When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go.
Okay, so they're saying that this is an unknown author. They're not sure who wrote it, but they do know it's written by the slaves. So let's read that portion of the article.
Go down, Moses is a spiritual phrase relating to the Holy Bible. It describes events in the Old Testament of the Bible, specifically Exodus 8:1. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, Go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus saith Yahuwah, Let my people go, that they may serve me. In which Elohim commands Moses to demand the release of the Israelites from bondage in Egypt. The opening verse is as published by the Jubilee Singers in 1872.
So that's the song Go Down Moses back in the 1800s, and they identify themselves from the Hebraic perspective, the sufferings, and make that connection to slavery. Now let's look at our sister, Mahalia Jackson, real quick. This is just some samples. Huh? Oh, you know how to sing it?
Yeah, I know. See.
Go ahead, sing it, Ima.
When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go.
Okay, Ima.
Go down, Moses, Way down in Egypt land, go down, Moses, and let my people go down.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ima. All right. So Mahalia Jackson, very famous sister back in the day in the 60s and whatnot. And she is famous for a lot of songs that were sung in church, and it was called Negro Spirituals. And this is an example of the Hebrews in diaspora yearning and crying out to return to Zion. Let's read a portion of her song called Walk in Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
Walk in Jerusalem. God knows I'm going to walk in Jerusalem. Talk in Jerusalem. Sing in Jerusalem. Be in Jerusalem. High up in Jerusalem when I die.
You see that, Mishpachah? Her focus is on where?
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Jerusalem. This is something within our spirit. Now, this is a band called Steel Pulse. David Hines from England. Brother Dawid, you probably know the group very well. The Brethren over across the pond wrote a song called Nyabingi Voyage. Nyabingi is in the Caribbean culture, drummers who they beat these drums with a rhythm and singing psalms of Zion. So the song is called Kindred Trod on Israel, or Nyabingi Voyage. So let's read part of the lyrics where it says kindred.
Kindred trod on Israel.
Kindred, that's the Israelites walk on Israel. Go ahead.
Look around you. The youth them need a home.
Look around you. The youths, they need a home. Okay, we don't have a place. Read.
Can't you see that ghetto streets they roam?
Can't you see the ghetto streets that our people are traveling through? Read.
The wilderness is no place for us to rest our weary head.
The wilderness is not a place for us to lay our tired heads. Read. I'm saying to you, I'm not going to stay here. I'm not going to sit here in this place. Go ahead.
Zion-bound sidewalks paved with gold and the milk and the honey flow.
This is all biblical. He's saying he's bound to Zion, sidewalks paved with gold, where the milk and the honey flow. Okay? And then he goes into the chorus. Go ahead and read.
Can be no trail of tears.
Well, there's not gonna be no trail of tears. He's imagining or reimagining Israel going through the wilderness. No trail of tears because we're Zion bound. Read.
Nyabingi Voyage.
Just imagine the Hebrews beating the instruments, the tambourines, heading towards Jerusalem. Read.
Don't get weary, no. Release yourselves from all snares that tie you round. Break all fetters that bind you, chains that have you bound. Over hills and gullies we go, through swamps and waters out of the gutter.
So over the hills and the gullies, the gutters, we go through swamps and waters out of the gutter. So this is just a little sample of the songs of Zion in the Hebrew diaspora. You want to say something, Ima? Oh, okay. Let's look at another example real quick. This is another reggae artist just recently released from prison. As you know, our people are always going in and out. Buju Banton. This is a song called The Mighty Dread as an example. Read for me.
In Zion, it was said that this man and that man was born in her. And the highest himself did comfort, I say, and establish her these things. I thee behold with my eyes. So remove the veil and tell no lies. This day, this day, this day, why?
Buju Banton is also declaring Zion. Do you think this is by accident, Mishpachah? That embedded in our soul we have this yearning for Zion? Let's look at another artist. This is Sizzla. And the name of the song is called Freedom Cry. Go ahead and read.
Glory be unto the Father and to the Son, ruler of creation, honorable. O Israel, Ezekiel, them your rebel, warrior, them I go rebel. And I won't fail, much less to compel. You have the knowledge you tell. Emmanuel say up with Jah palaces, Down with your folly things. Light in your crevices, no matter what it is. Look within the scene. The Nyavinga keeps rolling. Hey, freedom cry. Black people wipe the tears from your eyes. Yeah. Black man rise. Too long. They're under the skies.
All right. I want to play a clip from this artist. Let me see if we can pull it up. Just to give you what he said most recently down in Florida. I mentioned it before, but I wanted you all to see it for yourselves. Now, this particular reggae artist had joined up with, what's this guy called again in New York? He's a well-known producer, and he had a show, Hustling or something along those lines, kind of like how The Apprentices with, he used to work with Jay-Z back in the day. Forgot his name. No. Forgot his name. Maybe y'all, not DJ Khaled. It's a guy who, no. He's not, he put out he had a, what's his name? Yes, Damon Dash, that's right. Thank you so much. And Sizzla, the opening for the song for, what's the show called again? Y'all know what it was? Hustling or something with Damon Dash. Sizzla was the one that was singing on the opening for the show, for the program. Okay? It's like an apprentice. People, you have these artists that wanted to be, you know, kind of make it big in the music industry, and he had them going about doing different errands and whatnot, and you would see that. So anyway, this is Sizzla, who was singing the songs, and this guy is performing, I think it's in Miami, and listen to this carefully.
Greetings.
As a matter of fact, let me just move it ahead to about 1:30 something. Let me see where, I want to get right to the point. Let's see, 1:37.
It's a blessing, and to actually have someone like Sizzla, who is a famous reggae singer, you know, saying it publicly so the world can hear, it's actually a blessing. So I just want to share this clip with you right now. Check it out.
What it? Listen to me now. Me no dey in House of Parliament, now King's House, but I'm very intimate with the business of Jamaica. And me know want certain nation people who can come by on the country and full of the country and disrespect the children and the people in the country. And I don't want when visitors come to my country, going to disrespect them. So Jamaica is a very educated island, yeah? I know Jamaica is a corporation business here, Solomon Island. And Jamaican people, you are the Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew Israelites. Study up them things there. We have the internet as a reservoir of knowledge. Don't use it for propaganda for anyone else. Use it for education to yourself. Use the internet to get where you couldn't get at school. Where you don't pay so much money for. It's you know what a fingertip. I'm going to talk again.
So for those who can understand, he's basically saying that whenever the tourists come to Jamaica, he don't want them coming in the country disrespecting the people of Jamaica. And he don't want when the tourists come to Jamaica, he doesn't want the Jamaican people disrespecting the tourists, because Jamaica is an educated country. And then he goes and say that Jamaicans are the true Hebrew Israelites. And he said to go on the internet and search for these information. And he said the information is flooded, the internet is flooded with information right now. You must use it to your advantage and don't use it to do negative stuff. And he said a lot of the information that is on the internet right now, a long time ago, people would pay for this information. So while it is here free, you should take advantage of it. And that's what he said. People need to go there and research who they are. So this is a blessing in our time right now to actually hear Kalonji Sizzla speak this unto the people. I know many people at the concert probably hear him say this and it just went right over their head because they're not familiar with this form of teaching. But this is just the beginning, and it's a blessing to see Sizzla doing this. And I respect Sizzla 100%. From a long time ago, I respect him, but I just brought his respect a little higher just by him doing this. So here's the clip again.
Quiet! Listen to me now. Me no dey in the House of Parliament. Now King's House. But
he said he's not in the House of Parliament or in the King's house.
I'm very interested in the business of Jamaica. And me no want certain nation people who can come buy our country.
I don't want anyone to come and buy out our country.
I'm full of the country and disrespect the children of the people in my country.
And disrespect the people of the country.
And I don't want when visitors come to my country, we're going to disrespect them.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamaica is a very educated island.
Jamaica is a very educated island. You hear?
I know Jamaica is a corporation business name.
Jamaica is a corporation, a business name.
Solomon Island.
Like Solomon Island.
People, you are the Hebrew Israelites.
You are the Hebrew Israelites.
Hebrew Israelites.
Hebrew,
study them things there.
Study those things.
Internet.
Basically saying utilize the internet
as a reservoir of knowledge.
As a reservoir of knowledge.
Don't use it for propaganda.
Don't use it for propaganda.
Use it to educate yourself.
Use it to educate yourself.
Use the internet to get what you couldn't get at school.
Use the internet to get what you couldn't get in school.
What you have to pay so much money for?
What you have to pay a whole lot of money for.
It's now at your fingertips.
It's right at your fingertips.
Now talk again.
I'm not going to talk again. So you can see, brothers and sisters, that this is a very popular reggae artist who travels around the world, and you'll be surprised who makes up the audience. It's mostly white people. They want to come to smoke the weed. Okay, the music is going one way, they're dancing another way. I don't understand it. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you so you can see for yourself that our people have never lost this cry to Zion. I got a few more, then we're going to wrap it up, okay? This group called Culture wrote a song out of many songs called A Slice of Mount Zion is for I, for me. Okay, for myself. So go ahead and read the lyrics.
A slice of Mount Zion is for I.
Uh-huh.
A slice of Mount Zion is for I.
Is for me. That's the Caribbean lingo called the Jamaican patois. Read.
I'm willing, Jah, to lay down at Zion doorway like a foot mat.
So he says, listen, Most High, I'm willing to lay down like a mat, okay, a doormat. Remember, where's this coming from? David. What did David say? Can you get that for me? Find that for me, please, where David says he'd rather be as a doorkeeper. Read that again for me.
I'm willing, Jah, to lay down at Zion doorway like a foot mat. Even the saints of Zion trod upon my back and enter in.
But a slice of Mount Zion is for me, for I. Okay. Brothers and sisters, this is just an example out of many, and I will share with you all some other, both on the American side and the Caribbean side, different things within the lyrics that you don't find that in other cultures. They sing about everything else, but within our people, we always include Zion. Remember, if I forget about you, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth, my hand dry up, all kinds of stuff. But the other nations are singing about going to heaven. But in our reggae music and our Negro spirituals, we speak about going to Zion. You see that? Okay. Did you find it yet? Okay. Do y'all find it for me? Okay, when you find it, we'll pull it up. The Fugees. Everybody knows the Fugees, right? Anybody knows the Fugees? Well, you're from an older generation, so you don't know the Fugees. The Fugees are... The Fugees, it's a short term for refugees. And really and truthfully, we all refugees. That's the way that the world is looking at us. Y'all understand it? So this is a song called Fuji La. You found it? Okay, let's read the lyrics for the song.
What's going on?
Uh-huh.
Armageddon come you. Know we soon done.
Armageddon is coming soon. We know it's going to be over very soon, right? Go ahead.
Gun by my side, just in case. I got to jump. A boy on the side of Babylon.
So he's basically saying, I'm carrying apocalypse is breaking out, and I'm armed just in case someone want to jump me. You know, I got to defend myself. Go ahead.
On the other side of Babylon, trying to front like he's down with Mount Zion.
Okay, this is a rap. Even in the rap culture, they're declaring about Zion, Mishpachah. And this was a hit, a mega hit. Right, Brother Kelvin, you remember, right? You don't remember? Sister Lydia, you remember this, right? Okay, you used to be singing the Fuji Love. You used to think you was Lauryn Hill? No? Okay. Come on, brothers and sisters. Even in the rap, Mishpachah, we had Israelites crying out and declaring Zion. Let's get the Psalms. Where is it? Psalms where? Okay, Psalms 84:10. Let me get that up. Just to show you all that we weren't singing stuff that didn't make sense. We were quoting scripture. That's why the Jewish people's like, wait a minute, how do these people know this stuff? Psalms 84. And read verses 1 first.
To the chief musician upon Gittith, a psalm for the sons of Korah. How amiable are thy tabernacles, O Yah of hosts.
Okay, and what verse we going to? Verses 10. So let's read 10. Go ahead.
For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I had rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my Elohim than to dwell in the tents of wickedness.
See that? So here you have our brothers in diaspora. Let me pull this to the side here. Let me make this a little smaller. In diaspora, singing these very words that we find right here in the book of Psalms. You see that, Mishpachah? When I was growing up, there was this stigma against reggae music. Don't play this stuff, the Christian people would say. Don't listen to that stuff. The brothers were singing about Zion, 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 and the church was singing about going to heaven, heaven, heaven. Christianity was promoting foolishness, and the brothers were talking about what? Zion. Okay? I'm not saying all of the stuff that the Christians were putting out was foolishness, but you had this stigma. If you sing in reggae music, it was this taboo. You shouldn't listen to this stuff. I think many of y'all know what I'm talking about. The association with these guys with the dreadlocks and stuff and the smoking and whatnot, but they never took the time to look at the lyrics of what they were talking about. They were talking about the struggle. Okay? That's what they were doing. So let us move on. Got a couple more slides and then we're going to say shalom. Until next time. So we got the Fugees singing this, and there are other ones that I can bring up. Lauryn Hill, when she broke up with the Fugees, she put out a lot of stuff that was talking about Zion. She even named her son Zion. Okay. All right, let's read Jeremiah 30 and 17. Let's wrap it up. Jeremiah 30 and 17.
For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith Yahuwah. Because they call thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after.
No man is seeking after Zion. That's why Christian church is always singing about something else. The picture on the screen is to remind us that we are Israelites, wounded and needed to be healed. And it's like no matter what we try to do, we're always put down, attacked. They steal one part of our music. We say, okay, we're going to invent something new. We got that going. They take over that. We take bits and pieces of music. We make rap. They took over that. We say we're going to make jazz with all kinds of notes going all over the place that they can't figure out. We're going, they jump in that thing. They grab that too. They come around watching us. Oh, so that's how we do it. Yes, you want to say something?
Yeah, and music that they can't take over, they manage so that they can profit on our backs.
And if you see the water running from their mouth when they get a collection of old blues records and stuff, man, this is Howlin' Wolf. This is stuff that you can't find anywhere else. How much is this thing worth? This is worth about $10,000. And Howlin' Wolf is with his old 4-string guitar. He don't even have enough money to put another 2 strings on it. And he's going bling, 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 bling. No teeth in his mouth, and he's just playing stuff. And they're like, man, this is some, you hear the rhythm, the richness in his voice? Many years ago, I think Brother Shamar, if he's on, he remember this too. We went to Nashville. There was a Hebrew who was singing country music that we were trying to get a contract in Nashville. And we went to the owners, the management for Hank Williams and many others, and also with I think it's Tim. I think it's Toby, not Toby Keith. Tim, whatever his name is. Anyway, so we brought this brother who came from the islands, who had this voice singing just like George Jones. Sister Lena, you know I'm talking about George Jones. George Jones, if you type in the word George Jones, you're going to see he's a white Gentile country singer. Yes. So this brother now we took to Nashville, sat down with management. The Shema was there, I was there. We were talking to the guys and stuff about trying to get him in. And they were trying to figure out, how do we get this chocolate guy, because they listen to this guy and they're like, you can see the water running from their mouth. Like, this guy is like better than George Jones. He sounds like George Jones, but he had soul. That's what the guy said. He says, the only difference is that the guy, you can hear the richness of the soul in his voice. And they're trying to figure out, how can we get this guy to sing to a white audience? Because obviously they're going to think it's George Jones when they're hearing the album. Believe you me, brothers and sisters, when you put it next to each other, they sound almost the same, but there is a distinctive richness to the brother's voice who comes from the island of St. Lucia, singing country music. So I told the guy, I says, listen, why don't you do a show and keep all the curtains down, have the guy sing in the back, let the band play. The people can see the band, white band playing, boom, boom, boom. So they enjoy the music, like singing along, enjoying the music, and then gradually bring him out and just put the lights gradually on him. By the time they see who it is, it's too late because they're already singing along with the guy. They've already accepted the guy, but they're shocked to see that this guy's coming out. He says, you know what, that's a good idea. But unfortunately, it didn't work out at all because the brother was too shy to really get the contract. At least let me put it this way. The Most High didn't want us to get involved in that kind of business. So he directed me away from that. Yes.
Yeah, I heard him sing in the Grove Church. Also, you know the.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The drive-in.
The drive-in theater.
He sang. You can hear him all in the road. He's singing. Nice.
Okay. He has an excellent voice. He's on YouTube. Linus Modest is his name. Linus Modest. And yeah. Okay, brother Shamar already posted that. You remember that, brother Shamar, right? Back in those days, we traveled over there, and the people was just amazed. It's like children in a candy store, and they were seeing, and the place that we went to, Sony Records is right next door. All the big businesses, music industry was there. Nevertheless, Mishpachah, it wasn't the Most High's will that we ventured into that. And the brother still sings. He travels to Ireland. He travels around doing little gigs every once in a while. And everybody's amazed at his singing. And he's done some interviews with some Gentiles over in Tennessee. He cut a lot of albums. But again, it's just one of those things in diaspora where if the Most High wants to preserve you, he's going to keep diverting you away from certain things that you know you're going to lose your soul. He's going to give you enough traveling abilities. You can go do little concerts to keep some butter on your bread, but he doesn't want you to lose your salvation. So he says, that's, the women is going to come in, the booze is going to come in, all kind of stuff is going to come in, the drugs. Next thing you know, the Hebrew is going to be lost. The Gentiles are going to be making a lot of money off of him, and he's not going to be anywhere. Okay, and so the Most High knows what he's doing with Israel. Let me take this final verse of scripture in the book of Isaiah 30 and verses 19, and then we will close out with prayer. Isaiah 30 verses 19. Go ahead and read.
For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee.
Hallelujah. The people shall dwell in Zion. It doesn't say anything about in heaven. This is a prophecy. Has this happened yet, Mishpachah? No. You shall weep no more. How can we sing the Most High song in a strange land? Mishpachah. It's very, very difficult. So this is the end of the introduction. We have a lot of scriptures to go through about the history, the instruments that was used, the effectiveness of the music, how it can drive away demons, and if we use it incorrectly, it can cause demons to come upon us. And so we have a lot of things to learn, and I hope that we can venture into this. I want to share with you also a song that the sister in Zimbabwe shared with me, that when I look at the lyrics, I have to shake my head. I says, this is Israelite music. There's a video on the internet that I looked at. This guy singing a song, and it's all about the Messiah. It's basically the book of Leviticus that speaks about a damsel who's a spouse to her husband, and someone wants to mess with her. The Bible says when she cry out, her life will be spared, and the rapist will be put to death. Okay? And the song that the sister sent me from Zimbabwe area, the lyrics were very, very in that same direction. Men were trying to come at the girl, and she had to remind them, my husband is such and such, and he will deal with you. He will deal with you. It's like a warning. Don't mess with me because I'm a spouse. I have another man, an ancient one. The lyrics is talking about an ancient one. So, loved ones, we're going to stop here, and I thank you all for joining us today. And I pray that, I hope that this has been a blessing to you all. And so we're going to stop here, Most High willing. So, Dode Shemuel, you ready to close out with prayer? We're going to ask Dode Shemuel to close us out with a word of prayer. We have a lot of little Hebrews and Shebrews with us that need something in their bellies. And so we have to show mercy and compassion on them. Hallelujah. Let's prepare ourselves for tefillah and ask blessings from our King on high. So let's prepare ourselves. Let's get ourselves ready. Let's again face towards Jerusalem and ask our King to bless us as we close out in prayer. Dode Shemuel.
Let's pray. In your presence, once again, we come to you. Great Elohim, we thank you for the moment spent in your presence, letting others know that we are special and we are being chosen by thee. Help us to live the life that is pleasing and acceptable in your sight. Bless the offering, bless the food, bless our hearts once again, and do for us more than we could ask, think, or desire, because we do ask it in your wonderful name, I pray. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Let
The words of our mouth, meditation of our hearts, be acceptable in your sight, or you are our strength, Redeemer. All praises to our King. Let's sound the shofar one last time, Elder, and we're going to say shalom to the Mishpachah. Love you all, Mishpachah. Stay strong, stay sharp. May the Most High be with you all. Until next time, we say Shabbat Shalom to the whole house of Israel. Please remember to join us, those of you who need prayer. Brother Benjamin, Brother Bill, Sister Yehudit, Elder, Brother Yoshe, Brothers Willie, all of the brothers, Sister Sharit, and all of you all who comes on to uplift the house of Israel. May the Most High bless and keep you all. Hallelujah.
We travel the narrow road, distant travelers, traveling, seeking peace from their sorrow and peace from the pain, and they got nowhere to go. A resting place you are seeking, traveling, traveling. If you don't belong, something's wrong. So you got to keep moving on. If your vibe is not with someone, nothing's wrong. Just got to be moving on. No Congress or constitution. Truth we want. Black righteous government. Elect of Jah Lion and Lioness. Traveling looking for a resting place. Distant travelers. Traveling. Seeking peace from their sorrow and ease from the pain. And they got nowhere to go. A resting place you are seeking. Just traveling, traveling, just traveling, sorting out the whole thing, hoping how everything run. Chaos is system failing, mostly the wealthy gaining. Planting a natural garden, industrial plant polluting. While from the cloud acid rain, destroy and not like building. The Lord the gates of Zion, more than on Jacob dwelling, more than this place we wetting, more than them crazy custom. Not employment for poor man, needs extra cash for someone. The evil favoritism, they took that boy for this land. And the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. The projects and town where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. We as kings are spoken, of the old city chosen. Feel good and time we hear them, but milk and honey flowing. The said holy foundation can be found in the mountains, land of the grass surrounded by waterfalls and fountains. When we remember Zion, we cannot help but smiling. If we the hearing silent, but news alone is flashing. In the midst of the heathen, hail the conquering lion. Witnesses testifying, the hell story telling. The ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. City projects and town where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. Wanting Zion, Zion, wanting Zion, Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation, wanting Zion.